sir, would like to know from you that how important is Navy compared to all the three arms of defense?
Navy in particular is very vital for India. Reason is very simple. We have nearly 6,000 kilometers of coastline starting from the edge of Gujarat. Huge line, huge area to guard. You should also realize that we have an exclusive economic zone wherein we can exploit the wealth of the sea up to 200 nautical miles from the seashore, wherever a seashore is. So Army has proved itself very well in the wars, and Navy has assisted in whatever little way it can on the West Pakistan during the 71 war and in various other operations. Air Force has always been helping the Army as well as the Navy whenever required. The ocean is a very critical ocean. If you see the geography of the world, it's the third largest ocean, surrounded on the west by Africa and Eastern African region and also the Gulf area. On the east by Southeast Asia as well as the northern part of Australia, and in the north by South Asia. And India, Indian Peninsula literally is in the center of all this. So it's a very strategic location which India is in as far as the Indian Ocean region is concerned. Why is the Indian Ocean region so critical, so important? Why almost all the things that we talk about as far as the sea arena is concerned, in most cases relate to Indian Ocean? It's very simple. Indian Ocean is a very warm bed as compared to the other seas. It has the richest sea life that you can have. Fishes, largest number of fishes, and they are very useful for the consumption for animals and humans. In addition to that, it has a lot of minerals. So economically, it's very, very powerful. You must be aware that titanium is mined from the shores of Kerala. It's one of the highest titanium resources, as well as humans. In addition to that, it has a lot of minerals. So economically, it's very, very powerful. You must be aware that titanium is mined from, as well as we know Bombay High. There are a lot of oil reserves available. And there are so many other minerals, bauxite, iron ore, everything which are exploitable from the sea. So the sea wealth becomes very important, and it also has geopolitical importance. The location as well as the position India is in, almost all the sea routes go through the Indian Ocean. West to the east, all the NATO countries go along the Cape of Good Hope. Around the Cape of Good Hope, they go to the east for their export and imports. China also has a very critical function. You know that almost all the imports and exports to China go through the belt on the eastern side, and South China Seas are critical. They have claim on it, and you know all the things that are going on, stresses, and it is important that these sea routes and our own presence here is well guarded, because a lot of sea routes cut between us. It goes above Andaman Nicobar, some go below, and on the Laccadive Minicoy there are also other countries in and around Malay and others. So they are all in very strategic locations, and I would say needs guarding. Initially, the guard of the entire coastline was that of the Indian Navy, and it was too much of a load for us. Subsequently, Coast Guard has come up with the advent of time, and we are looking after this coastline. So for having such a large coastline, I think we require a very strong Navy, because future wars are all on deterrence rather than actual fight. I hope this I made myself clear. Thank
Wonderful, sir. Sir, now looking into the changes and the technology integration, what are the changes you are seeing in the overall defense system of India?
Well, I left maybe 2.5 decades back, but fortunately I have been close touch. I have been in close touch because of the business that I was in, wherein we had a lot of interactions with the armed forces. the scenario of war has changed. No more can we rely on what we were doing way back in 71 or in the 70s or 80s or maybe even the early 90s, where most of the war were conventional wars. Well, nuclear wars was not even thought of at that time, though preparations are on for that.
Yeah.
Like NBC preparations, nuclear, biological, and chemical damage control and defense was all there. But only the US and Russia were the Cold War scenario at that time. And it was a mutual deterrence which was taking place. Subsequent to that, as with the advent of massive communication, I would say burst, wherein the communication became very easy. Cell phone in the earlier part of the century, they came up in full flow, and within 10 years, I think India is one of the largest consumers next to China as far as the cell phones are concerned. There has been an advent in communication, and also in terms of that, there is also the dark side of communication, hacking and all the things are there against which we need to guard. So today's war, as I see it, is going to be a war of drones, a war of IT, and a lot of AI is going to come in. Basically, it's going to be a war of deterrence, means who takes the action first, because action would give a reaction and it should escalate to something which is beyond conventional wars, because beyond that we cannot afford to have a nuclear war, because it will be devastating to the entire world. I mean, it's just not one or two countries, but the whole world will be affected by that. So it's a war of mutual deterrence, and we need to have a very strong army, navy and air force to ensure that we are able to safeguard our regions, our borders, so that people can live in harmony and rest in peace and do their business inside the country, so that they're not affected outside. So the future wars are all going to be of deterrence, but with the change of AI and deep learning and all coming in, and with individual equipment or even things like drones or robots being inherently self-intelligent and learning on their own, we really don't know where the future is going to go, but it's going to be fully on the IT side for sure. It's going to be who has the edge on the IT side, who would be strategically ahead of the rest. That's what I feel the future wars would be.
Wonderful, sir. So before we go for the first question which I asked you, few leadership lessons, sir, which you felt is very, very important for leaders to understand, implement into their day-to-day, the operation and dealing with the people.
Okay, you're basically asking me what are the lessons I've taken back from the Navy? Okay. Lessons that I have learned from the Navy which were useful outside. I'll answer the question you asked earlier, last. Is basically the first lesson, of course, is of discipline, and we need to. There will be some repetitions, but pardon me for that, because I need to reintroduce these points. So discipline is a very important aspect that comes in with respect to takeaways that we get from this. Teamwork is very vital, without which we cannot achieve anything. A classic example of teamwork are many countries, the Koreans, Japanese, you see they all work in one. You will have probably PhDs under somebody who is just about a graduate, but they just, once a decision is taken, they go right. And that's an important aspect, because you need to keep in mind that once a decision is taken, irrespective of what your differences are, you go all out, mind and heart out, to achieve whatever are the objectives you set. This is one of the important lessons this service has taught me. Another great lesson is adaptability. Adaptability is very important, because if you are not able to adapt yourself to situations, you are not able to innovate yourself to resolve the problem. In the armed forces, whenever there is a hit or we get a wound, it's a crisis management. You should be able to be calm and cool in a crisis. It looks like an oxymoronic statement, but it's that. You need to be calm and cool and keep your emotions aside and try and handle the situation as it is. This is typical in the army, particularly when soldiers get shot, and sometimes a leg gets blasted off, and they need to take action immediately and cover and save the other people, as well as take offensive action against whoever has done this. So it needs a tremendous amount of guts and I would say mental strength that you need to build, which is a part of leadership, incidentally, to overcome the situation. For us at that time, the situation is more important than anything else, and the safety of your men is most important. Of course, it only comes after the safety of your country, which is vital. If we all have to sacrifice our lives, that's to be done. But these are some of the important things. And finally, of course, there are so many other points I can talk about, but the skills that a leader needs are very vital. Communication skills in particular is extremely vital. It is just not talking. There are 3 aspects of communication as I know: kinesics, proxemics and paralanguage. Kinesics in particular is all about body language and how your expressions and so many other movements of the body and all your outer outlook, how it is, communicates a lot. Non-verbal communication, as you're aware, is nearly 50 to 60% of communication that you do, followed by paralanguage, which is the way you speak and communicate with the modulation of your voice and other things, which I'm sure you're well aware of, as well as proxemics is another part which actually talks about how you utilize the distance between them. And there are so many other aspects of communication, but this I feel are very critical for a leader. Besides this, besides the soft skill training, also the consideration for a human is very vital for us, and that I think is one of the most important things that we learn in the armed forces, how to take the team along together.
Wonderful, sir. So you answered this question already. So anything which we are missing or anything you would like to share with our audience, which probably will be very helpful for them?
Yes. I would like to talk about actually the question you asked me earlier, because this is the right time to answer it. That is, why are people from the armed forces successful in the corporate, or many of them are very successful in the corporate field? I'm not sure if you're aware that a lot of short service commissioned officers are doing extremely well in the corporate world. A lot of them are earning 8-9 figure salaries. But important thing is not the salary part. Why they are successful is because they have been given this military training, and 10 to 12 years they spend, or 8 to 9 years, some depending on the time they spend, initial stages at a very young age, and they learn all the acumen which is needed in the army, which the armed forces teaches them and takes it out. So the first thing why a guy does better when he leaves this place, of course I am at a later stage, is that he has a rich experience behind him. We who live later will have much richer experience with respect to leadership, teamwork, motivation and other things, because we have practiced this, and in very difficult situations. Situation in the corporate world is difficult, but in a totally different sense. There is no life and death involved there. That is one. Second thing is that for adaptability, we need time. People take time, because the culture in the armed forces is different from the method of operation in the civil world. Because there you are looking at profits, you are looking at growth, efficiency, and building of the team or building of the organization, take it to higher levels. And it's all basically about, well, sorry, I'm using this word, it's all about money. How to exactly do well for the organization. And so when you're looking at profitability and profits and efficiency and other things, efficiency, effectiveness, all these are very vital, and this we have learned in a different way, but we orient ourselves. We take a little time to orient ourselves, and because we are adaptable, we are keen to learn, this process becomes much faster. So that is the reason, the second reason why people are doing well. And finally, I think to an extent, most of the people look at the culture of the organization and what has been imbibed in the armed forces and be put into practice here, and not necessarily money. So in that case, we take the whole team along, keeping in mind that ultimately we have to be profitable, and it works very well in most of the instances. luck plays an important part, but I would say instead of throwing 5 stones so that one hits, you throw 100 stones. Definitely 5 will hit which you're aiming. That's what I think luck is all about.
Very nice, sir.
Or the harder you try. These, in short, are the main reasons why people from the forces do well.
Sir, I feel that in corporates we conduct a lot of MDPs or management development programs,
UDPs
where people like you, officers like you, those who really live the life with all these attributes of a discipline, management and everything, will be a great help for the upcoming young leaders to shape them up. And this is what, which is the need of an hour for any organization, maybe big organization or medium size of organization. And I feel that your experiences, your life journey and the small stories really will be very helpful for all our audiences. Thank you so much, sir. So viewers, if you are watching till now, please share 3 important lessons what you have learned out of this podcast from Arun sir. And sir, really wonderful discussing with you, and thank you so much for sharing all your experiences and the journey with this podcast. Rao sir, kindly help us in sharing some of the stories, which you feel that will be very helpful for all of us.
Well, Pankaj ji, actually, it's long back that I left the Navy, but I have some memories which are evergreen that I have with me and carry with me, and probably it'll be for a long time more. One of the first memories which I would like to share with you is Bombay High. Bombay High, as you're aware, was the first offshore drilling that we have in India. Since 1976, it has been tapping. In fact, 12 years earlier, ONGC had actually discovered this oil reserves there. Once the Bombay High was set up, to be frank with you, it was like a huge diamond in the sea. Navy was hovering all around it, and I came in the 1980s, which was early 80. In fact, I was in my first appointment in a missile ship, which I told you, INS Vijaydug, and we had regular tours there, regular trips there to guard Bombay High, because we were very fresh after the 71 war and didn't want to take any chances with Pakistan. On one of these trips, I was told that we are expecting an enemy mosquito. Mosquito is basically an aircraft in our naval terminology. We are expecting a mosquito from the adversary side, and we need to take care. And this had given rise to a lot of preparations in advance. And we had, in fact, at that time, we were the only missile ship there. And unfortunately for us, we were prepared. We were actually, as normal, we were having all surface to surface missiles and a couple of, surface to air missiles fully armed, and a couple of SSMs, surface to surface missiles on board. So we are on a 2-watt system, which is high preparedness. But our launcher was somehow not firing because the firing circuit was down. We were not very far from Bombay High, maybe another about 20 minutes, and we would have been there in Bombay High. Bombay High, as you know, is about 165 kilometers northwest of Bombay, which is about 90 nautical miles. So there was a lot of stress and tension at that time. And the entire ship, which consisted of hardly about 45 people, were under a lot of stress what to do, because the admiral was on another ship and he was getting very impatient. So I found at that time, I was the only specialist on board looking after the missiles. I found that the firing circuit was not coming on. Sea state was not too good. It was 2-3, which means though it was September, just towards the end of the monsoon, still the sea state was 2-3. We could see some white horses, which means the waves in the sea were still there. there was a fair amount of rolling and pitching was less, but the firing circuit was not working. So we had drawings laid all over the air defense room, and it was actually this surface to air missile was controlled by analog computers from the Navy, from the Russia actually, that we got in this Manuchka class missile ships, sorry. And we had other specialists who were under me, the sailors. They were telling there's a major problem in the system, blah blah. I said no, these systems don't give problems. So we went through the 40 or 50 micro switches and other things that were there in the system. It took about 20 minutes or so, but I asked what was the last action taken. One of the guys said that there was an oil leakage. He put it up straight in the antenna post. I said that's where the problem is, and I was sure that the antenna post was not properly tightened. There's a micro switch there. So immediately I stopped all operations and told that my specialist sailor to go up and check this micro switch. And fortunately for me, I was right. 2 of the micro switches had got opened because it was not fully locked. We did that. Firing circuit came in order, and just in the nick of time, we had the system ready. Fortunately for us, the enemy aircraft came to know that there is a surface to air missile ship one in the fleet, so they turned back and went. They didn't come. This is one of the things that has stayed very green in my mind. I would also like to talk about 2 instances which will be etched for the rest of my life. This was way back in 1976. We were going in INS Delhi, my training ship. At that time, it was around the same time. It was October time. We were going from India, Indian Peninsula, to Andaman Nicobar, towards 75% of the distance. Suddenly we heard an announcement, clear lower decks, all hands come on the upper deck. It was around 11ish in the morning. A little amazed. Clear lower decks means all the people have to come on top except the people who are on watch. We all came up, and the sight I saw that time, I cannot describe this in words. Around us, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of porpoise in the sea. Porpoise are maximum 2 to 3 meters, dolphin class. They are the dolphin, they come under the dolphin group of fishes. They are much smaller, reddish and grayish. Thousands of them all around the ship. They are very friendly creatures. So they just used to pop in, pop out, pop in, pop out. Thousands of them all over, and immediately my commanding officer ordered stop all engines because we didn't want to hurt even one porpoise. So the propellers were stopped, otherwise some of them could have got hurt. And it was one of the most fabulous sights I've ever seen in my life. I will never get that sight again. Till my eyes could reach in the sea all around, there were only porpoise. And maybe about 20-25 minutes later, it vanished as they came. Everything went silent. Then we went back to work. This is one of the most fabulous things I've ever seen in my life. The second instance is much more, I would say, common, but to few people. This is on another trip that we were going to Andamans. This is normal actually, not abnormal, but something fantastic, which is not known to most of the common people. I was in INS Ganga and we were just off the coast of Chennai, and we had an unusually moonless night, and it was absolutely clear, not a cloud in the sky. And we looked up and lay down on the deck, because in a ship, warship, we don't have lights outside. It's all dark. We have only the port light, starboard light, and the light on the mast light. There are no other lights, and they are dim, so that they are visible only to a certain distance. We found the sky is so rich. That's the time we realize how small you are in this world. Every minute, a couple of shooting stars used to come down. But believe you me, Pankajji, I couldn't find 1 square centimeter of the sky which was not having stars.
Beautiful.
It's one of the most fabulous sights you can ever get, but you cannot get it anywhere near the coastline. So this is, of course, why I say it's not very uncommon is people who go to research laboratories right on top of hills, they have a similar experience, but it has to be far away from the lights of the city. So this was in the middle of the ocean. It's a fabulous sight, and I mean, it's something which amazes.
Beautiful, sir. I can see the sparkle in your eye while you are describing and sharing all these stories.
It's wonderful experiences, and these are some of the things I love to share because I probably carry it to my last days.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pankajji. It was a pleasure interacting and talking with you and sharing some of my experiences. I'm always ready anytime you want to build the professional abilities of people or any other thing that you feel needs development. I'm always available because I am in the stage in life where I need to give rather than take. So I'll be most happy to come. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity you gave me and this podcast. And once again, I thank you a lot. And make a move. Thank you very much. God bless and Godspeed.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.